There's a question that tends to surface around this point. It doesn't always come as words. Sometimes it's just a feeling, quiet unease, a pause where something used to be. Is something missing? Not in a dramatic way, not as panic, more like a subtle check. You're going through your day, doing what needs doing, responding to what's in front of you, and then the thought drifts in. Shouldn't there be more here? Shouldn't this feel fuller? Shouldn't something be happening? And the strange thing is, nothing is wrong. Life is functioning. Relationships are intact. You're showing up. You're moving forward. But the absence of intensity can feel unfamiliar. For a long time, intensity was how meaning announced itself. Strong emotions meant something mattered. Strong reactions meant something was alive. Strong inner movement meant something was happening. So when life becomes quieter, the mind looks for what's gone. Not because something is missing, but because something stopped shouting. That's usually when the question appears. Is this it? And that question doesn't need an answer, because it's not actually asking. It's checking for contrast. It's scanning for the old markers, the highs, the lows, the sense of being pulled or pushed. When those markers aren't present, the mind assumes absence. But absence isn't the right word. What's missing is urgency. What's missing is pressure. What's missing is the constant demand for experience to justify itself. And those things don't leave behind a hole. They leave behind space. Space can feel empty if you're used to fullness being loud. But space isn't emptiness. It's capacity. You might notice that days don't stand out as much. They blend together, not in a depressing way, in a neutral way. Nothing demands your attention. Nothing insists on being interpreted. The day passes, then another. And you don't feel the need to extract something from them. That can feel unsettling if your sense of aliveness was tied to significance. If life felt real only when it felt meaningful. Here, life feels real without explanation. You wake up, you move, you respond, you rest, and none of it needs commentary. Nothing feels missing because nothing is being measured. You're not comparing this moment to a past version. You're not holding it up against an imagined future. You're just here. And being here doesn't always feel dramatic. It feels sufficient. That word can feel disappointing. Sufficient. It doesn't sparkle. It doesn't promise anything. But sufficiency is stable. It doesn't fluctuate wildly. It doesn't require maintenance. You don't have to protect it. You don't have to chase it. You don't lose it if you stop paying attention. That's what's changed. For a long time, meaning had to be maintained. If you didn't tend it, it faded. If you didn't reinforce it, it disappeared. Here, nothing needs reinforcement. Life doesn't collapse when you stop narrating it. It continues. You may notice that you're less interested in asking big questions. Not because you found answers, because the questions don't hook you anymore. What's my purpose? What is this all for? Am I living the right life? They pass through like background noise. They don't stop you. They don't derail you. They don't demand resolution. That doesn't mean they're invalid. It means they're no longer urgent. Urgency was the fuel. Without urgency, the questions don't bite. They don't pull you out of the moment. You don't need to push them away. You just don't follow them. This is often where people worry they've become indifferent. But indifference is flat and disengaged. This isn't that. You still care. You still respond. You still feel. But you don't amplify. You don't dramatize. You don't escalate experience into identity. That's why nothing feels missing. Not because everything is perfect. Because nothing is being demanded. You're not trying to fill a gap. You're not trying to get back to something. You're not trying to arrive somewhere else. Life feels complete enough as it is. And enough can feel like a letdown if you expected transcendence. But transcendence is exhausting. It requires contrast. It requires departure. This doesn't. This stays. You might notice that joy feels different here. Less explosive. Less consuming. More like warmth than excitement. It doesn't sweep you away. It doesn't demand celebration. It just shows up quietly and leaves quietly. And because of that, it doesn't leave a crash behind. The same with sadness. Sadness still comes, but it doesn't feel like a problem to solve. It doesn't threaten your sense of being okay. It's just part of the texture. Life feels more even. And evenness can feel strange if you were conditioned to equate aliveness with intensity. If life only felt real when something was at stake. Here, less is at stake. Not because you don't care, because you're not turning experience into a referendum on your worth. That's what's gone. Not depth, not feeling, the constant self-measurement. When that drops, nothing feels missing, because you're no longer asking life to prove itself. You may notice that boredom changes too. Boredom used to feel like a problem, something to escape, something to fix, something to fill. Now boredom feels thinner, less heavy. It doesn't carry judgment. It's just the absence of stimulation. And absence doesn't need filling, passes on its own. You don't rush to replace it. You let it be, and often something else follows. Not because you chased it, because space allowed it. This is where trust deepens without becoming a belief. You trust that life will move when it needs to. You don't push. You don't wait anxiously. You don't strategize. You're available. Availability doesn't feel exciting. It feels open. And openness doesn't announce itself. It's just there. You might notice that you stop looking for confirmation. You're not checking whether you're doing this right. You're not asking if this is the correct stage. You're not trying to see if others feel the same. Because comparison requires a standard. And there's no standard here. Nothing to measure against. Nothing to optimize. Nothing to return to. So the question, is something missing? Loses its charge. Not because you answered it, because it no longer applies. Nothing feels missing because nothing is being withheld. Life isn't holding back. You're not stuck. You're not incomplete. You're not waiting. You're just living in a way that doesn't need commentary. That's a big adjustment for a mind that learned to stay alert, that learned to search, that learned to scan for problems. Here, there's nothing to scan for, and that can feel unsettling at first, like you forgot something important. But if you pause and check, not analytically, just honestly, nothing is asking for attention. No alarm is sounding. No part of you is calling out. There's just quiet movement, breath, steps, sound, light, and that's enough. This episode isn't telling you that nothing will ever feel missing again. That would be a promise. Life doesn't work that way. There will be moments of longing, moments of uncertainty, moments where the old questions resurface. But those moments don't define the landscape anymore. They pass through. They don't take over. They don't recenter the self. You don't build a story around them. You let them come. You let them go. And in between, life continues. Nothing feels missing because nothing is being compared. Nothing is being judged. Nothing is being withheld. You're not trying to get back to a peak. You're not trying to avoid a low. You're just here. And being here doesn't feel like a problem. It feels sufficient. Quietly, consistently. That's what this season keeps pointing to. Not a realization. Not a conclusion. Just the absence of absence. Nothing feels missing because nothing is being demanded. And that's enough to keep living.